Greetings, demons, and welcome to another add-on review for Minecraft Bedrock. This time we are looking at Toykat's Toolkit. So this is, of course, the brand new add-on created by IBX Toycat, fellow YouTuber, and generally just a really good guy in terms of content. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff on show here, so we're going to be going through everything, including crafting recipes for all different items. So yeah, roll that intro and we'll get into it.
Not the leader of a cult, RabbitWithAxe.
So, as with all add-ons, once you actually load up the add-on, you do get a book which does explain all the different recipes and different items that are included here. So I'm going to be kind of disregarding that for the sake of this video, and we're going to be just checking out all the items themselves in person and exactly what they do. And starting off over on the left, we have the Cloud Pellet. So this is essentially an item that allows you to build anywhere in the air. You can already see I'm using these cloud blocks here, which are very nice. You can't place them normally, though they are an item in creative mode if you are so interested. But if you want to get further up in the sky, you just place it there, and obviously I placed that one a little bit too high to jump to it, but you get the idea. You just place them in the air and you can then build anywhere off of those. It's actually pretty intuitive, the distancing and everything. It seems to understand pretty well where you want to place it. Obviously I was looking a bit too high there, it went a bit too high, but that isn't really the mod's fault, that is completely on me. But if we go back down here, we also have this item, the Cloud Capsule, and this is done just purely through potion crafting. So all you need is a standard potion brewing setup with one of these cloud pellets, and you get the Cloud Capsule. And if we go back up our little parkour path here, we can check out exactly how it works, because this is actually a very useful bit of, well, equipment, a very useful tool in general, because say you were falling to your death, which I know this isn't, you can actually give yourself a little cloud platform, and it does actually give you slow falling, which is a very nice little extra feature. And yeah, in general, it is very nice to have, and then you just break them. They do drop a cloud pellet, which is very nice. It doesn't mean you actually get more cloud pellets. It is actually a renewable resource, which is very good. And it does make sense to be that way, purely on the basis of this is the crafting recipe for a single cloud pellet. You need 8 total snowballs, along with a phantom membrane. So it is not by any means very cheap, though honestly the fact that you can just turn it into a cloud pellet bottle and then just get 9 more is pretty good for just renewability, and generally it just means that you can constantly be building further and further up into the sky. Really good if you want to create some parkour, and otherwise just really good if you want to be able to build in the air, because you can directly build onto it. I don't have any blocks on me other than my unknown to actually use, but yeah, believe me when I say you can use this to build off of, and it is a very useful tool. Something equivalent very much to scaffolding, but a little bit more user-friendly, and doesn't require to be touching any of the blocks to be placed, which is pretty cool. But moving on, we do have something that I was very excited to see, and that is the skiff. And this, oh, I have two apparently. The shield skiff is a vehicle just like a boat, but it is for land use, and if we go into third person, you can see it is pretty much just a boat on land. It works pretty well. Obviously, it saves you your hunger points and everything like that. No, it went into the end. That's something I should probably avoid. But yeah, overall, a very cool vehicle. Moves pretty much in a straight line. The animation, obviously, makes it look like it sways a little bit, though obviously you do not actually sway as you're moving. Pretty good overall, and I really do like this. If you're wondering how exactly to craft it, first off, let's just get rid of that other one. And you can see, I've somehow messed this up. So it's 1 shield, 1 string, 1 shield, but apparently I didn't put the items in the crafter. Kind of weird. Unless, okay, the button crafted it. Well, in any case, that is how you make it. You just use 1 shield, 1 string, and another shield in this format, and you get a skiff, which is a very cool new transportation item, and honestly just gives another use for shields. Obviously, a lot of people like to craft them, especially when it comes to, hardcore and stuff. It's a very important item, but this gives another reason to make some extras, and, if we ever end up with some way to get, a lot of shields without much use, this would be a useful mod to have. But moving on, we do have our next item, which is the End Scry or however you want to pronounce it. And this is essentially a brand new ore item only found in the end, and we will show in a moment just how you actually find it. It is a little bit annoying in some ways, but I'm sure probably people will enjoy it. And yeah, you can make the End Scry or End Scree actual blocks, which look pretty nice, have a nice pattern to them. And of course, you can make a full armor set, with some of them actually giving you abilities, including the helmet giving you night vision, and then everything else just kind of giving you generic stats when it comes to how you use it. If I could take off the trousers, that would be great. The shoes do also give you jump boost, specifically when you are on endstone, as well as the legs giving you speed 2, specifically when you are on endstone. So pretty useful for the end in general, and obviously if you want to combine this with what I was already wearing, my mending elytra, it gives you a little chance to do a bit of an extra glide, specifically when you're in the end. And just quickly going into the end to find exactly how you get them. Here we are in the end, and hopefully I will be able to find where I left the material, because it's somewhere under here. There we go. There it is. Okay, I'm coming in way too quickly, and I'm going to fall. Okay, let's quickly switch to creative mode. Okay, the entire end is kind of broken. But as you can see, if I land on my little platform here, you can find end scry or underneath the end islands, and that includes both the actual end island. I'm really sorry, I'm going to look away from that effect there. This includes the main end island as well as over in the alternate islands once you defeat the dragon. I have actually done that, but I cannot remember where the portal piece is. So let's go ahead. There we go, it's right there. I revived the dragon. I don't really know why. But yeah, let's just break this and break that one. There we go. And we can go over to check them out underneath, because this is the main place that you're going to be able to find them, obviously, in any sort of mass quantity. And yeah, they are quite literally just at the very bottom of the end islands. Very dangerous to gather, but honestly, very much worth it. We'll see in a moment. As well as this really good armor that you can get some other very useful tools. But yeah, let's get back to the overworld and continue with our tour of everything in this pack. So that is everything for end screen, and we will come back to it in just a moment. But first, I do want to quickly go over another item, that being the cage carrier. The recipe for this is as follows: 4 chain as well as 3 iron bars. Pretty simple recipe overall, and actually pretty cheap in the grand scheme, especially for what it can be done for. And yeah, if we enter our little ocelot farm here, oh, I'll need to get rid of that one later. We do have to put a mossy cobblestone on top, but you just take your cage carrier, left trigger or right click your mossy cobble block, and there we go. We now have a filled cage carrier, and we can go around and just put this back wherever we want, including back here, and it does maintain whatever mob was in it originally. And as I say, all you have to do, you can't grab it with the cage carrier, you just put a mossy cobblestone block on top, grab it, and there you go, you can carry it around with you. Very useful, and I'm sure plenty of people are going to love this for their mob spawners in their modded worlds. I'm definitely going to be using this a lot. And yeah, in general, very good little feature with a pretty simple recipe overall. But that brings us to our variety of actual usable tools. And we'll start, of course, with the larger scale colossal series of tools. So you do have the axe, pickaxe, shovel, and hoe. And the recipes for those are as follows. They all use the end scree again, along with crying obsidian. In this format, you do use the iron equivalent of their tools. And essentially, they just give you a much larger use case. So if we actually go and grab them, I don't currently have wood. That's going to be a bad idea. We'll use the shovel as the example. So you can actually make a 3x3 area of path, as well as break a 3x3 area, and apparently 2 down, potentially. When I was testing it before, I didn't do that. Okay, yeah, no, it's just a 1 deep 3x3 area, but you can dig or mine or whatever else with that, and I'll finish sorting that out later. And then as for the hoe, it is the same deal, where you can make a 3x3 area of tilled dirt, which is very, very useful, especially for large-scale farming. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to find use in these colossal tools. But yeah, very simple recipe overall. It just means actually getting the end screen material, as well as the crying obsidian, which finally gives you use for that material. And yeah, overall, very fun tools. The pickaxe obviously does the same thing as the shovel, but for stone. And the axe does the same thing, but for wood. I really don't want to dismantle my house right now, so I'm not going to do that right now. But yeah, very, very useful there. Next up, we have the only proper weapon here, which is the heavy crossbow. And yeah, it is a very interesting weapon. Obviously, I don't have any arrows on me, so I can't pull it back, but I can't load it. And that is because we have 3 different types of bolt. The blast bolt, the gust bolt, and the ore bolt. Now, the thing with the ore bolt, and I'm going to use this one first, it is only used for mining natural ores, and you can use it on any ore, including the end scree. It does work for all of them, but it has to be naturally placed ores. So, because it's a flat world, I can't actually show this in action without going back to the end. But, in any case, it just fire off, covers a pretty large area, and yeah, is a pretty useful mining tool if you so wish. And that one is crafted with 1 emerald and 4 arrows to get 8. Pretty good overall trade there. Moving on, we have the gust bolt, which, as you'd probably understand, is very much a traversal item, because it launches you into the air and gives you slow falling, which is very much appreciated for an item like this. And of course, it uses a wind charge with 4 arrows once again for 8 bolts. Very, very useful, especially for traversal, and just generally navigating around your world is going to be very, very nice, and gives yet another wonderful use for wind charges. And then finally, of course, we have the blast bolt, done with a TNT block as well as 4 arrows. And this one I think is going to be the one that most people enjoy the most. This is also why it's a bedrock box I'm firing into, because, oh, apparently target blocks are immune. Okay, but the area behind my bedrock is not immune. It does just create a massive hole in the ground, or hole in whatever you're shooting at. And overall, I think this is going to be a very fun one, especially for PvP servers. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this one, especially, you know, if it is for griefing. Though obviously, don't grief your friends. You know, be nice to your friends, look after your friends' stuff and everything. But yeah, a lot of people are going to really enjoy blast bolts for sure. And yeah, that is the entire use case for the heavy crossbow. Still a very cool weapon that has a lot of use, and the crafting recipe for that is 4 obsidian, surrounding a crossbow along with 4 redstone dust. Not too expensive in the grand scheme of things. All these things are relatively easy to get your hands on, and you know, if you have an excess of crossbows from pillagers, this is a very good use for them. But moving on to this beautiful piece of kit here, the Spinnerette. This is crafted using more end scree, which 5 more of those, a end crystal, which is probably the most expensive item that you'll see in this entire video, as well as 1 ender pearl. And this is once again a traversal item. So you see we have some pink concrete, and all you have to do is left trigger or right click, and you can just be pulled towards the block. So obviously this is not the easiest thing to use in the world. You do have to disconnect in order to connect again to a new structure. It is not the safest thing to use by any means, especially if you're not used to it. But for example, if I can time it right, there we go. You can get all the way up to the top, and then you can also attach yourself back to the base to bring yourself back down. But yeah, it is very much a case of how good are you at actually being accurate with it, which is something that I definitely lack. But the range on it is actually kind of insane. You can do a large distance, it has to be said. And yeah, the fact you can attach to the ground means that in most cases you are probably safe to use it anywhere. But that is also the reason why it is so expensive. Like, it makes sense to make something this expensive when it is infinite, well, other than its health bar, and is essentially, there's no cooldown on it. It is a very useful item in general. It's very similar to like an Elytra, and I would generally say this is one of the most useful traversal items I've ever seen in any Minecraft add-on, any Minecraft mod. I think that legitimately this is a very useful item, and when combined with an Elytra, this is honestly one of the best ways to get around anywhere, which is really, really cool to say. But yeah, very expensive, but very cool, the Spinnerette. And that leaves us with our final item here, which is the Multitool. And of course, this has 4 variants for all different materials. We have wood, stone, iron, gold, and of course, diamond. It doesn't actually go all the way up to netherite, which I find a bit weird, but also it does kind of make sense. This is a very useful tool. And I'd assume in a future update, we will probably see this have a netherite update. It just hasn't happened yet. But the way you craft this is just have 4, well, 1 of each, I say, of the 4 different tools, along with 1 piece of string in this format, and you get yourself a multi-tool. And yeah, as you'd expect, really, this is efficient at all types of block breaking. And unfortunately, I don't have much to really show, but yeah, it breaks everything at the speed of the equivalent tool, but means you only have 1 slot taken up by it, which is really, really useful, and I think a lot of people are going to generally enjoy this as just a way to, empty out a little bit of extra space in your inventory, which is a major thing. Especially, you've got a sword, you've got maybe a crossbow. It makes sense that instead of having 4 different slots taken up, you can instead just have 1. And yeah, overall, I think it's a very useful bit of kit. And while it doesn't have the full hoe features, like you can't actually till dirt with it, like you can with the colossal version, you can still break leaves and stuff like that you would break quicker with a hoe using the Multitool. But with that being said, that is everything included in Toycat's Toolkit. A very, very cool add-on, if I do say so. And honestly, I think this is definitely one that's worth getting. It is 700, I believe, of the mine coins, which I don't think is too expensive, especially for the fact that they have promised updates in the future. And I'm sure plenty of other stuff will be introduced over time. But even as it is, there is so much stuff, especially for endgame players, that I think a lot of people will enjoy this as something that doesn't feel too different from normal Minecraft. Like, a lot of this stuff feels realistic to how, 1, it would be crafted, and 2, it would actually be experienced. The only one that I could see people having any sort of issue with would be the cloud pellet, just because it is a completely new mechanic that does allow you to just place blocks in midair. I do see why people might have an issue with that one, but things like the shield skiff and the end scree and, even the carrier for the for the cages, like, is just so useful. Like, I can just now carry my cats wherever I want, and, say I want to start a farm over here. There we go. I can now have my cat spawn over here, and all I need to do if I want to move it again is go grab my cobblestone, my mossy cobblestone. It's just a lot of real useful stuff, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to get a lot of joy out of this mod. And yeah, overall, I can't really complain about it. The value is definitely there. I'm very happy to have it. I've already added it to the Neovale, I guess, survival world, I suppose you'd call it, that I have going on currently on the channel. And yeah, in general, I'm very excited for what the future this pack has, and even just using it in general as it stands, in my existing worlds. I think it's a very good pack with a lot of good features. And yeah, that is really all I can say about it. But in any case, it's going to be it from me. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like it, subscribe if you're new to it, and ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Otherwise, comment below your thoughts and feelings on Toycat's Toolkit, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Look at the screen, you'll be fine. Culture's a disease, but worlds divine. I just wanna take